Hey everyone, and welcome back for another Railfan video. I was going to do this in chronological order, but at the last minute I changed my mind and figured I'd start with the action first. This is video from a second trip I made to the Corbin yard in southern Kentucky. There was a festival going on next to the tracks, but the first thing I noticed was this southbound approach signal. Was I in luck? Would I actually catch a train today? There's actually a lot going on, I just didn't realize it at the time. I got my drone in the air and started flying south to get a look at the yard. What do you all think? That looks like Q542 to me that we're flying past. We can also see all those hoppers full of coal. Wonder where they're off to and when they're going to leave. Just an FYI, the radio traffic you'll hear is not actually when it happened in the day. I try to let my recorder get everything I can when I'm filming, and then I condense it later on.
Bobby McNabb, over. Go ahead, Randy Fox. Can you see the rear of our train? Yeah. What side of signal is it on? It's right in the middle of them. Okay. Welcome.
As we keep flying, we see an empty coal train creeping into the yard. We'll watch as it makes its way in and comes to a stop.
I'm ready.
That's flag on pin.
I'm pin.
Flag on pin. Revolver.
Back it in. Can we follow you up through there?
No, that's all right, dude. 90%. You're going to give me about 15 more feet there.
At 50 more.
Yeah, about 15.
A line on the bottom coming south.
Then, a crew van drives right in front of it. Well, let's follow that and see where it goes. I think it's heading to what I think is Q542. Hopefully, the crew is here and it will be leaving sometime soon. I had to switch to a ground camera because my drone battery was getting low. We can see the door open and a crew member get out. I didn't know what they were doing, so I went back to the train that had just arrived. You can see a plume of smoke from another engine behind that new train. It doesn't take long for the crew to get to work. They uncouple the locomotive, and we see the conductor throw the switch, and the engine starts pulling forward.
Get the light off the rack here, Bobby.
Any idea, Miss Nadine, when you need a ride? Probably about another 30 minutes. All right, thank you.
Fuel truck yard master.
Main line.
All right, thank you.
Fuel truck, you say you're in the clear back there, over?
Yes, ma'am, in clear.
All right, we're gonna start pulling.
I'm ready.
That's flag on pin.
I'm pin.
Flag on pin. Revolver. 3 cars.
The conductor then lines a second switch, and the engineer begins to back up.
20 feet. 10, 5, 7, 3 steps.
Yard master. 3 seconds. Go ahead, over. Ready for the DP.
You copy that, Nadine?
I did copy that. Fuel truck, we're pulling, over.
Copy that. Hey, come help you, Andy.
I got it. All right, release 3 step there, 462 or 59. I'm in the clear. Release your brakes. Run the brakes on it.
3 steps in clear, release some brakes. Nine. Houston.
Release.
Putting big brake on.
All right.
Alright.
And they're releasing. You get your hand brake and we'll go to surface traffic.
Alright.
If you can, Tommy, you're probably going to have to find a EOT. Since that DP was on the rear, we probably don't have a EOT back there.
Okay. Hello, Derek. I'll stay back here.
Alright, here we go.
Go ahead, over. That West 7's in the yard system now. We're off the track, I reckon.
Your track list showing anything on it? I got a few level 3 wheels, but nothing I don't think I'm going to have to hit. That's terrible.
I was hoping to see it pull out soon, but that was the last it would move, at least for now. While all this has been happening, a southbound loaded coal train has entered the picture. This is who that approach signal's for. Pay attention to that tanker truck next to the tracks. Those workers you're seeing are actually from the fair going on next door.
No, it ain't showing no BIs or no BOIs or anything, just showing me all good 100-tonners, you know.
I need to try and get her out of here.
It didn't take long to figure out why that tanker truck was there. I will say it was pretty cool to watch them fill up the engine trackside.
All right, man. Got about 10 more. No.
5 more cars over.
Get it anywhere you want, stop it right there.
Alright, stop. Fuel truck over.
I'll holler when I'm done.
Alright.
Bus headed to the circle track.
Over. Go ahead. Got you lying towards the signal there. I guess if it's all right with the yard master, you can pull ahead there. I think there was 14 cars. What you got a hold of, maybe?
All right. 542 yard master.
Let's see if I can find a light. If there's not one there, then we'll have to figure out something else.
Well, I'm not sure if there's one on there or not, but I know that the DP's the last car we got.
We'll fast forward a bit as the train pulls forward. Once that first engine was filled, you really couldn't see anything.
542 yard master.
Wait for Corbin.
Yeah, Chris 542, go ahead and make our motion.
Bobby, they've got looks like 541's got him lined to Center Street. The LE does there. I guess we'll have to let him come in and then do her thing.
All right, waiting on 541.
This whole time, I thought the van was picking up a crew. Turns out, it just dropped them off, and this is Q542. You just heard the dispatcher say Q541 is north of here in line to Center Street. That's just north of town. And right now, that means both tracks are occupied, and there's no way for Q542 to leave. The train would shortly come to another stop, and I would soon find out why. I put the drone back in the air, and as I looked around, I actually saw the northbound engine that had just pulled into the yard and tied onto that second engine, now pulling into what I thought was a turnaround track and stop. As I take a closer look though, I can see that the rails don't actually continue on the loop. Does anyone know why they pulled in there? There was actually another engine in there the first time that I was here. Just curious what they're doing back there. Well, back to our other train. The distributed power unit also needed to be topped off, so it stopped again. We know there's coal in there, but one of the first things I learned as a kid from my dad was when you see the springs compressed like this, that means that car is carrying a load. And I'd say we can tell that that coal is pretty heavy.
I don't know how many cars you're doubling over. You can't double over. You'll be fouling the signal, I guess, won't you?
Yeah, we got 14 cars. I don't know if we'll need a signal or not.
Okay. If you can double over and where he can still get into the backside there, like run through where he can run through 11 or something, that'd be fine. But if not, I guess we'll just have to stay put.
And probably better stay put.
The train would pull past me again, but it did not leave the yard at the time. The rain that brought me here in the first place was catching up, and I had a long drive up I-75. This wasn't my typical day for sure, but it was interesting to see a lot of what goes into railroading before and after these trains get out on the main line. As we call it a day, let's step back to the springtime and take a look around the yard and learn a little bit of the history behind this terminal. When I first visited, the yard was pretty much dead, just empty hoppers and empty tracks. As I was getting set up that first day, I heard a crew being sent home because nothing was coming through for several hours. Talk about exciting. I figured I'd driven this far though, I couldn't just head back home, right? Well, I stuck around and shot some video of the empty yard. While we look around, I'll talk about the history of the yard and the line. The Corbin yard is the southernmost point of the CC Subdivision. It's the northern end of the KD Subdivision, and the CV Subdivision ties in on the eastern side of the yard. This line was constructed in the late 1850s by the Kentucky Central Railroad before being bought by the Louisville and Nashville. It played a significant role in supplying and moving troops during the Civil War, and then became an important coal route for the L&N. The L&N built this yard to handle coal trains, most of which would head north. In 1905, the railroad began to expand the Corbin yard, including a roundhouse with a turntable, and in 1908, a new passenger and freight station. As coal traffic continued to increase, in 1921, the L&N expanded the Corbin yard trackage and built a new 7-stall locomotive repair shop, plus added more stalls to the existing roundhouse. Corbin Yard also received new coaling and sanding towers during the 1920s. While traffic through the area stagnated in the 30s, it grew and grew during the 40s and 50s. In 1948, the Cumberland Valley or CV Division office was moved from Middlesboro, Kentucky to Corbin. Then starting in 1966, the yard's old steam locomotive service facilities were torn down and replaced with new diesel facilities. In 1976, L&N created the Corbin Division as coal traffic from the CV Subdivision continued to increase. The following year, a new 2-story Corbin Division office building was opened at the north end of the yard. The building was connected with the L&N headquarters in Louisville with a microwave tower. Then in 1986, following the L&N first being merged into the Seaboard Industries and then into CSX Transportation, the Corbin Yard was rebuilt. That year, CSX invested $43 million to build a new locomotive repair shop, car repair shop, locomotive service area, and a yard tower. But then, not even 30 years later, in October of 2015, CSX closed part of the Corbin terminal. 225 people lost their job when the locomotive shop, service center, and car shop all closed. The shops were primarily used to maintain, inspect, and service locomotives and rail cars for coal trains. CSX said it was due to prolonged decline in coal traffic through the region. At the time, a spokesperson said Central Appalachian coal moving through the terminal had decreased 57% over the last 10 years. Inspections over the past decade were down 50%, and the number of locomotives needed to support Central Appalachian coal, they dropped 41%. At the time, about 100 engineering and transportation employees remained at Corbin to manage the yard traffic. A small number of mechanical employees also remained to support train operations. I couldn't find any updated numbers for workers at the yard. The yard itself was divided into 2 railcar handling yards, west and east. The west yard was the coal handling yard, and the east was used for local traffic and overflow from the west yard. Also in 2015, the track into the former Arch Coal Company coal preparation plant now served Progress Rail's Corbin Hopper repair shop. Progress Rail was servicing non-CSX cars, with its main business being repairing utility coal hoppers. The former L&N Corbin Passenger Depot and its adjacent CV Dispatcher building are now owned by the city of Corbin. I've heard the line was nearly sold off at one point, but based on the construction I've seen up and down the line, it appears CSX is investing a good deal of money into it. The line has Q541 and 542 daily manifests between Waycross, Georgia and the Queensgate Yard. I'm told things are improving and some crews have been called back. There's also been talk of Q539 and 540 Cincinnati to Atlanta trains may be returning, but I've not seen anything definitive. You can also catch some unit grain, ethanol, and phosphate trains at times. As we look around, we can see the A. Crane Jones Locomotive Repair Shop. Next to it is a building used for running repairs of locomotives. These used to be the car repair shops. Hopefully the CC Sub and Corbin continue to see more action. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a lot of fun to make and watch everything over again. Hopefully you checked out the first part of this video where we make several stops on the CC line as it makes its way south to here. I've got a few more videos in the works, including a new one from Louisville where we see the drawbridge raise and lower, and then we head to Seymour, Indiana, and then to Cincinnati. I hope to have that up soon. Until then, I hope you have a great day.